Hi everybody, I hope everybody is happy, safe and healthy. Today I have brought for you a small story which is a very inspiring story for me. So I am into spiritual manifestations and I am also learning how to be a clairvoyant since past almost 10 years now, and to be able to help more and more people so that they get more and more benefited. I am upskilling myself continuously these days. Card reading and learning various types of card decks and how they can help and solve people's problems is something which I'm doing on a regular basis and even on a paid basis. So I'm now engaged into paid consultations where I perform psychic readings and card readings for people through various decks. However, we cannot miss the hero of our readings, and that's the tarot card readings. While learning about these tarot cards, I obviously bought hold of the very famous Rider Waite tarot deck, or some people also call it as the Rider Waite tarot deck. Both pronunciations are correct depending on the kind of place you are dwelling in right now. I stumbled upon this very famous story. Now, this deck in the world of tarot, this particular Rider Waite deck, is the hero of all designs. The illustrations of this deck, they are phenomenal. They are prevalent now for more than 100 years. You may find so many tarot decks in the market today. It's difficult to choose from, and I'm talking about tarot reading, all right? I'm not talking about other forms of angelic card reading. But this deck is famous. It's called the traditional tarot deck because of its illustrations, right? And this is exactly the story that I stumbled upon. I somehow came to understand that the illustrations were not made by either Rider or Waite. So why am I talking about illustrations is whenever you buy a card deck, it can be any sort of a card deck, whichever you are buying, a special reference is always given to the illustrator, because whoever initiated the idea of making the card decks, whoever initiated the idea of publishing the card decks, quite frankly also helped the illustrator to design. What I'm trying to tell you is, अगर ड्राइंग्स नहीं होती तो कार्ड डेक भी नहीं होता. सो इलस्ट्रेटर को हमेशा अलग से एक औहदा दिया जाता है इन कार्ड डेक्स, एंड इट्स लाइक अ रूल, इट्स लाइक अ गोल्डन रूल. यू शुड ऑलवेज गिव, मतलब ऑलमोस्ट पूरा ही क्रेडिट अगर दे दें तो भी चलेगा, बिकॉज उस बंदी ने आपके कार्ड्स डिज़ाइन किए हुए हैं और वो दिख रहा है आपको, एंड they had the intelligence to enter your mind's ideas and put it on paper. It's not an easy job. इस कार्ड डेक के इलस्ट्रेशंस इतने ज़्यादा फेमस हैं कि आज तक 100 साल से भी ज़्यादा हो गए हैं हम इन्हीं इलस्ट्रेशंस को फॉलो करते हैं. एंड आपको पता है, इस डेक में कहीं भी इलस्ट्रेटर का नाम नहीं है. The illustrator was a woman named as Pamela Coleman Smith. She was born in the late 80s-70s. By the time she graduated in the early 1900s, she became one of the first women graphic illustrators in the theatre industry. Such a beautiful title to have, being one of the firsts everywhere, and that to a lady. However, at that time, no recognition was given to her. I'm pretty much sure the payment, I've read it actually, the token payment that was given to her for designing 78 paintings. अब हम पुराने ज़माने की बात कर रहे हैं. These were paintings that she made. She was merely given a small amount, a token money, for making 78 paintings. A.E. Waite, Arthur Edward Waite, was a big mystic medium at his time. He guided her, but she's the one who drew, right? So why wasn't her name being put in the deck? क्या ब्रैडली वैलेंटाइन को जानते हैं? रैडली वैलेंटाइन हमारे ज़माने के बहुत ही बड़े और बहुत ही मशहूर एंजेलिक मीडियम है, एंड उन्होंने भी काफ़ी अपने कार्ड डेक्स पब्लिश किए हुए हैं. एंड इन मैनी ऑफ हिज कार्ड डेक्स, इन स्पेशली द टैरो वंस, ही एटलीस्ट मेंशंस वंस दैट आई विल नॉट कॉल दिस डेक एज the Rider White deck. I'll either call as the Wade Smith deck or the Rider Smith deck, because really all the work was done by Smith, and those illustrations are still ruling in this industry. Obviously, when she passed away in the late in the 1950s, that is post-war, she was penniless, no heirlooms. She didn't even know that her work would be so famous almost a century later तक. मतलब इतना चलता रहेगा उनका काम. Nobody, I mean, I don't think she foresighted that. I think that's the right word right now. And really, there was no funeral service or a memorial service given to her in her honor. That such commendable work was done by her in this industry of tarot. Obviously, तब awareness भी कम था उसमें, giving credit to a female lady illustrator, and that too for such a famous work. I think she was a woman ahead of her time. She's given one of the greatest gifts in the world of spirituality, in the world of divination. She's given one of the greatest gifts to mankind, and I'd like to honor her today. Why am I talking about her today, or why am I talking about? Because I don't want her work to go unnoticed. This podcast is not meant to, publicly sham anybody or propagate feminism. There are designated specialists who do that, and I don't want to be either. The main reason why I brought this story up is because it inspired me so much that even though she knew that she did not belong to the time in which she lived, she didn't stop believing in her gift of designing and creating images. She did not stop herself and what do I say? I think what I'm trying to say is she did not really stop believing in herself. And there are so many beautiful, inspiring stories in this world कि जब वो जिंदा थे तब उन्हें वो मान नहीं दिया गया, but उनके जाने के बाद the kind of difference they made in their lives, in others' lives, it's commendable. Always, always, always give credit to those who have helped you. Always, always, always make sure कि जहाँ से आप सीख रहे हैं, जो गाइडेंस आपको जहाँ से मिल रहा है, due diligent and authentic review has been given to them and taken from them, because even they have spent their amount of energy and time and willingness to help you out, right? In whichever manner possible. Just a few words of appreciation, even if you don't need to print it or post it on Instagram or anything, but अगर कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन आती है कि आपके सामने कोई डिज़र्व करता है अप्रिसिएशन, प्लीज़ करिए, क्योंकि जितना दिल खोल के करिए. यस, जितना दिल खोल के आप करेंगे उतना ही अबंडेंस आप अट्रैक्ट करेंगे. आई वॉज जस्ट सो मूव्ड बाय द स्टोरी ऑफ पैमला कोलमैन स्मिथ कि मतलब पूरी लाइफ उनको पता नहीं कि उन्होंने क्या अचीव कर लिया, एंड आज तक I mean, it's like there is no match to these illustrations even today in the tarot deck. And I was so shocked that her name is never anywhere. कहीं नहीं होता उनका नाम. Yeah, that's all for today, guys. And thank you always for listening to my podcast. And I'm so blessed. Today we have finished 1 year of starting my podcast. I'm so very happy, and that's why I thought कि आज कुछ अलग लेके आते हैं हमारे पॉडकास्ट पे. and I hope to continue to share so many beautiful learnings and teachings and just insights of my life regarding everything that I learned. I'm so happy for everybody over here for giving me time, appreciation. Many of you have told me and messaged me that we like your podcast, and I'm really, really, really humbled and blessed that this is helping somebody, because that's what the intention of starting this podcast is. And yes, as I always say in the end, lots of love and power to everybody, and all the credit to my mentors.